Welcome back. Well, today is Sunday, and Sunday is supposed to be project day, but I'm afraid not today because I have a backlog of haul videos that I need to get out to you, and this is one of them because I want to show it to you before I go listing it so that you all get a chance to see it and we can talk about it, because that's the whole point of this. I want you to know why I'm buying the things I'm buying. Selling is incidental. Selling is what I do so that I don't get called a hoarder. It's like I've got to get it out of the kitchen. If I don't get it out of the kitchen, the neighbors are going to complain. So we're going to talk about what I got recently. So stick around and we'll be right back. Okay, today we're talking about the hauls from Thursday's shopping trip with Jocelyn. We went to the Finders Keepers and the Goodwill in Hanover, and I spent $29.57 at the Goodwill and $15.99 at Finders Keepers. So when I was at Finders Keepers, they always give you very bizarre receipts. The receipts are whatever the vendor thinks their item is, and of course they could be dead wrong, or they could have their own method of identifying it that doesn't conform to anything recognizable out in the real world. So I sat there with my camera and I took pictures of every single piece with the price tags, and because I was being so clever, and I can't stand being that clever for any length of time, I just went home and promptly deleted the file off my camera. So, no, I do not have an itemized list of what I paid for this. But at $15.99 with 8 items, it was approximately $2 a piece. And my thinking is, when it's down to pocket change, does it really matter? So let's get started on that. This was one of the pieces I got at Finders Keepers. It is a little Japanese soy sauce dish. It's relatively new. You can tell from the mark in the back, new piece. It's pretty, and I got it because of the colors. Blue, white, peach. Gee, blue, white, peach. You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a part of a tidbit tray, something I can combine that's pretty and interesting and will go very nicely with some lusterware. Because when I mix lusterware in the tidbit trays, I really like combining it with other Asian pieces. I think it looks good. So that's what this is, tidbit material. So are these. 2 little geisha ware saucers. Now, geisha ware, as you know, I think is trash. It's rarely well done, and, they don't paint in the lines. It looks like they weren't even trying on these pieces. So why would I get them even for $2? Notice the border. The border on these pieces is green. Most geisha ware has a brick red border. So a green border, yeah, I'll probably be able to do something with them. And of course, they're probably going to become project pieces, probably going to do something with them, because even though they are somewhat on the old side from the markings, we're pretty safe to say 1930s. Old junk is still junk, and geisha ware is by and large junk. There are some nice pieces. Once in a great while you find them, but overall, this was cheap, disposable. It sold for pennies. It was never high quality china. So I'll find a better use for it and turn it into something that's a little more high quality than it is right now without even, being colored in between the lines. This, however, this is a Japanese piece. Really sweet little piece. This is older. We're probably looking at the 1920s or 30s on this piece. Very nice piece. One of the early Japan pieces. Just a sweet little trinket dish. And that is going to be sold as is. I'm not going to do anything to that. That is just really, really cute. And I can easily see somebody taking a fancy to that and this becoming the ring dish that sits, by their bathroom sink or whatever. I have a little rose medallion. It's a little spice box. That's what it would have originally been used for, spice or possibly snuff, a little tiny thing. And that sits on my desk and holds my earrings so that, it gets late at night, I want to take them off, and I don't want to get up from whatever it is I'm doing and go off in search of a jewelry box. Yes, I know. They heard you. They know you're here. And he is, by the way. So I just pop them in the little box, and then when I get up and go to my desk in the morning, I know where my earrings are. And I tend to do that. I tend to leave my jewelry. Yeah, okay, come on, you can come up. I tend to leave my jewelry in different spots all over the house. I'm really, really bad like that. But it's the advantage of living alone. The cat is the only one else who's here, and he doesn't complain. All right. Okay, I'm sorry. A photobomb kitty has to come up. Yeah, all right. There you go. I knew you were going to come up. Do you want to say hello? Yeah, because they all want to see what a pretty cat looks like. Yeah, all right. All right. Good boy. Do you like this? What do you want to do? Yeah. Okay. What we want to do is sit here and get scratched all afternoon. I know. But you're not going to be able to do that. Why don't you go find something to play with? Your toy is right there. Do you want your toy? All right. You can sit with me. Yeah. Okay. This was another piece I picked up. This is, usually they call them pin jars when they were oval like this. It's just a little container that you put stuff in, whatever that stuff was. And in this case, we've got a little glass bottom and a very pretty little Art Deco celluloid top. It was the Art Deco top that sold me on this, because our little bottom piece is damaged. There is a bubble here and a little nick over here. With glassware, there are two things you can do on this. Now, we've already done a video on just smoothing that out with a Dremel. That's probably not what I'm going to do with this. What I'm probably going to do with this is take a brush, take some super glue, and simply put a coating of super glue right into that chip. That's going to make it safe. You won't be able to cut or scratch yourself on it, and it leaves it largely in the condition that I found it. I think this is a piece that someone is going to want regardless of that little chip. But having said that, I do have to say that I'm noticing a lot of undisclosed damage at Finders Keepers lately, and I am starting to wonder about that. It wasn't the case a few months ago. So thinking, we're going to have to pay attention to this in future. This was another Finders Keepers piece. It's a little unmarked Capodimonte style pitcher, and by that I mean with these little applique flowers. When I get these, the one thing I look for is no damage to the petals. Very important. Usually the petals are damaged in a case like this. There is no damage, $2. Unmarked, no idea, no clue about this at all, but certainly it's worth more than the $2 I paid for it. And someone, well, to quote Maggie Smith from The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, for those who like that sort of thing, that's the sort of thing they like. Which, by the way, is one of the great lines in cinema history. So that's something someone who likes is going to want. This. Now this is damaged. I've seen this for a long time, and I finally waited. It was priced down to $1, and I said, okay, it's coming home with me. It has damage, some chipping around the holes on the top. At $1, I said, no, I am taking it because I've had my eye on it. It's a beautiful Art Deco salt shaker. The lettering alone is just well worth $1. At that price, I can either repair it, sell it as it is. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. But an Art Deco piece like this is just too gorgeous to pass up. So for $1, yeah, I'll put up with the damage. The next thing, these I grabbed. Large salt and pepper shaker. Let me see if I can find a regular, not necessarily large salt. Here's a normal salt and pepper shaker. Oh, here's the large Art Deco salt and pepper shaker by comparison. Look, these are big. What appealed to me about these is the gilding is in really good condition. There's no wear on these pieces. I can see they're quite old. But if you'll notice, the front, and I'll take pictures of both sides, and the back, both have full designs. A lot of times when you'll have a design on the front, you have a little sort of mini design on the back. Not so here. This design is a little smaller, but still, you've got full designs on both sides. I grabbed this from someone who was just coming in, dropping things off for consignment, and they hadn't even been priced yet. So the guy at Finders Keepers just offered me a price, and I was like, oh yeah, mine. So those were a good buy. But this is the buy of the day. This was so filthy, I had no idea what it was. It's still unbelievably dirty on the inside. This is a Chinese vase that is somewhere between 100 and 130 years old. So, is this going to be sold? Not a chance. This stays with me. So how is it I could pick up a gorgeous piece like this? And again, I'm going to show you both sides of this so you can see the little tiny design on the back too. Lesson to be learned here. Clean your stuff, because this had been sitting. I think the original date on the tag was sometime in December. And I believe this was one of my like $1 pieces. You know why it had been sitting so long? Do you really think it would have been there for 3 months if it had looked like this? No. It was filthy and no one knew what it was, and you couldn't even read the mark on the bottom. So I couldn't even read the mark on the bottom until I cleaned it off. It was so grubby. I thought that the piece was possibly even damaged. That's why they hadn't cleaned it. But I figured for that low price I would take a chance because I could see it was well painted. So that was the buy of the day. And as I say, lesson to be learned. Clean your stuff. Somebody took a vase 130 to 100 years old, somewhere in that range, and I can tell by the mark, and gave it away for $1 because they didn't feel like cleaning it. And this is beautiful. No damage. It's just, this thing is pristine. Under the crud. That was the thing. You had to clean the crud off it. But if you were willing to take the time to clean the crud off it, and I was, look what I have to show for it. I just can't explain some people. So that was the Finders Keepers side of the haul. Now let's take a look at Goodwill. And Goodwill, as you know, leaves their little price tags on. So that's convenient. Let's start with this. This is $2.99. So this is my $3 vase. I don't know very much about it. I can tell from the bottom that we're probably looking at a piece from the 60s or 70s. Just very nice blue and brown earth tone glazes. Perfect, no damage. It's got that sparkly new look to it, and it's going to be even more sparkly new looking when I actually wash this thing. This hasn't been cleaned. I thought that was a really good buy for $3. Even though I price my stuff, with an idea of moving it out of my kitchen and making sure that you folks can get the same kind of good deals that I will. If I could charge you the same kind of good deals that I get myself, I would, but I know you have to pay shipping. So I always keep it low for my customers. So, I want to move that out. And I don't imagine that's going to go for a whole lot, but if I were to sell it on eBay, I would probably be expecting, I don't know, somewhere in the range of 15 to 20, I would think. Somewhere in there. It's very hard to give ideas of that because I'm always wrong. Usually when things go up to auction, the things I think are going to sell high sell low, and the things I think are going to sell low just leave me with little baby heart attacks saying, oh my God, this can't be. Here is another piece. This is $1.99. I don't believe it's marked, not even under here. I haven't taken the price tag. No marking. It looks Japanese. This is the Japanese style from the 1950s, 1960s. The Japanese export market. Very nice, fat little pitcher. I don't want to say creamer because it's too big to be a creamer. Here, look at a creamer. And this is actually a big creamer, so you can see the difference. Probably a milk pitcher. And I've mentioned that before. Years ago, people would put milk on the table for cereal and such. And so that's probably what this is. Pitchers are incredibly useful, so I grab them when I can find them. $1.99. Unmarked. I don't think it's marked underneath here. No, not seeing a mark. A nice little lusterware vase with what looks like, well, actually, that looks like hand painting on it. So we've got a little spray of flowers on it. Just a simple piece. This is not damage. That is dirt. And again, just goes to show you, clean your things. People are inclined to look at dirt as damage. Very nice piece. I won't have any trouble selling that. None. Because a lot of people like lusterware vases. And speaking of vases again, I've got two little Chinese pieces. They were $1.99, tag here. Just a couple of nice small vases. They've seen some use. It looks like they've probably been at a yard sale before they went to Goodwill because there's price on the bottom. Chinese, fairly modern, probably 1970s or 80s. But nice little pieces. No damage, sturdy pieces. When they get cleaned up, they're not going to have any trouble finding a home. This is another one of the stoneware pieces I got. This is a little crock. Here's this little crock lid with the little opening for the little spoon. $1.99. Initials on the bottom, probably handmade, therefore, based on those initials. Really nice glaze work. I found that so interesting. Just the way the ceramist chose to glaze this piece. Super nice. Doesn't look like it's ever been used for anything. So hard to tell how old it is. What it does have is a crack right here. It's not a damaged crack, it's a firing crack. You can tell, especially if you run your hand across it, you can tell the glaze seeped into it. This happened when the piece was being fired. So I'm figuring the ceramist set it aside as unsaleable because of the firing crack, and that's probably how it eventually ended up in Goodwill in this brand new, never having been used condition. Nice piece. And this, at $2.99, is another stoneware vase. Pretty. This is probably from the 80s or 90s, judging by the color palette and the design. This is new, unused, very good condition, not antique, but vintage. Nice piece, worth a lot more than the $3 I paid for it. But as you can see, I'm making some effort to pick up things that are outside of my usual wheelhouse, which is mostly Asian. Why do I grab I grab the Asian stuff because it's available, because I see it, I can spot it, I recognize it, okay, good value, got it. But I'm actually making an effort to sort of pick out some other pieces too, because I don't want my Etsy shop to turn into like, the Asian art corner, because I'm not strictly limited to pieces like that. So I need to make more of an effort in this direction. I have, in fact, put pieces in my shop, just American country pieces. Oh, they sell well, and they sell as fast as I can put them in there. The Southern pottery pieces, again, sell as fast as I can put them in there. So I need to pay more attention to that side of the market. And it's not that I'm trying to ignore that side of the market. It's just that I somehow just seem to be flooded by Asian. And speaking of Asian, what have we got? We've got 6 plates, Japanese plates, just very nice little dessert plates. $3. A $3 price tag means I'm going to be able to offer these for sale at a very low price and get these into the hands of someone who will enjoy them. I have not untaped them yet. So far, they look to be in good condition. But as I say, that's something it's not going to sell for much because I'm not going to charge much for it. I would like to preserve that from the bins mostly. Oh, and notice, we've talked about this many times before, that yellow rim around the edge. Once again, very characteristic of Japanese pieces. And this is our last Japanese piece for the day. I got 3 of these. I only put 1 of these out on the table. It's a cream soup bowl with saucer. And as you can see, this saucer is much larger than an ordinary cup saucer because it's for the cream soup bowl. And this is Nato China. I got a set of 3. I'm not sure if they will sell, but if they don't, they will probably make nice 2-tiered trays because they are much larger than the average cup and saucer. Consequently, they could be far more useful for holding jewelry and cosmetics and toiletries and whatnot, but I have not decided on that yet. A set of 3 cream soup bowls is not really very useful, but Tidbit trays might be. Now, I overpaid for that, but it's Goodwill, so it's going to charity. What happened was I spotted a large box. I saw those pieces and a few other pieces in there. I went up to the counter and said, I will give you $7 for this box if you let me pick out the pieces I want and you can have the rest. So I took the pieces I wanted, they have the rest, and everybody's happy. At $7 for a set of 3 of these, well, it's a little higher than our average Goodwill prices, but I need to remind myself that it's very low compared to Goodwill prices in other parts of the country, so we need to let that go. Here is my final piece. I saw this, immediately recognized it for Southern pottery, and thought, oh my goodness, look at that beautiful Southern pottery picture. Well, $1.99 and over part of the Southern pottery label. This is not a pitcher. This is a teapot that's missing its lid. I think it will work great as a pitcher, though. Southern pottery, $2 with or without the lid. This is a beautiful teapot. I don't know how common this pattern is. I could not find the name of this pattern on the Southern Pottery Identification page. I did, however, find this exact teapot on the page, and I wrote in a note and asked if anybody knew what the name of that pattern was, because you usually do better when you're selling pieces like this if you can add the pattern name. In this case, I'm not too worried about it, because as I say, even without a lid, this is a really nice piece, because it'll make a great picture. But the Southern pottery enthusiasts have clubs, and when you have clubs, that means you have people who can help you match off your pieces. In other words, somebody gets that teapot, they're going to be able to connect with someone who used to have that teapot but had an accident and now just has that teapot lid. So that, in fact, was a nice find. Southern pottery goes really, really well. People love that to death, and it's just, I'm really starting to develop an appreciation for it. Even though American pottery is not necessarily my thing, that, boy, it's starting to grow on me. All right, so I can't believe I got through all this. Okay, fantastic. Now I get to start throwing this stuff in my Etsy shop and cleaning out my kitchen. Hallelujah. All right, couple things we need to talk about before we go, and that is the photobomb kitty, who is still right here at my feet. He's being good now. Well, you know, he got his camera time. That usually pacifies him for a while. He was hard at work, and he was picking a winner for the Dinky Loves soap and the English soap dish. And that needs to go home with Lori C. L-O-R-I-C, as in Charles, just the letter C. So, Lori C., get in touch so I can get your prize to you. I will make a note in the video notes on this. So, Lori, get it. Also, I'm going to post your name at the end of the video when I put a picture up of that. So, T-shirts. We are at our final weekend. I believe they told me this morning we have 4 days left. I had been a little vague about this before, but I am retiring the design after this campaign. I have decided that, those of you who have gotten the T-shirts, I don't see any reason to deny you a limited edition. So that'll be it. I think we have sold, I don't know how many we've sold so far, but I will let you know when the campaign is over. So when you've got your T-shirt, you can say, this is one of X number of shirts, and there aren't going to be any more. If I continue to use that design, it will be on something that is not a T-shirt. So you will have a limited edition. Anyway, we've got a few days left to run on that. For those of you who've gotten T-shirts, thank you so much for your support. For those who haven't, you got 4 days left, and we are done. All right. I was so sure this was going to turn into a 45-minute video. Wow. All right. Go. Have a good Sunday. I will see you again tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be part 2 of the 3-part Black Rose haul, because that was the $287 that was going to take me 3 videos to get through it. So part 2 tomorrow, and I believe that video is mostly salt and pepper shakers, but we'll see when we get there. All right, have a great day.